This is the process of 3D printing. There are three major steps, and there are some in between that will explain where we go from where. Okay, so we start with a 3D file. We export that to a print file, and then from that we export that to a instruction or code file. The 3D file can be made in your 3D modeler. And then it can be exported from your 3D modeler. The print file will go into a print software. And then your code file will go to a printer. So looking at that, let's break down the different categories. So in your 3D file, you have lines, points, and faces. It could be any sort of face, but it's closed, right? So that's not what you can export for a 3D printer. The things that you can export for a 3D printer are closed forms and also surfaces that have at least a thickness, right? So that thickness allows it to be printed. So something that has 0 thickness can't be printed. So that's more than maybe 1. So it's thick and it can be printed. So this could be any number of shape. That could be blobby, but the fact is it has to be closed, meaning no open holes, and it has to have a thickness, so it's not just a surface that goes up. So that's your quality 3D file, and because it's both closed with a thickness and also with no holes, then you could call that a manifold surface. And different programs have different names for these closed objects. Some programs call them polysurfaces, and that's essentially what your 3D file is to be ready for a 3D printer. For a print file, the next step is that it's going to take all that information and turn it into simple layers. So if you have an object like this, it's going to slice each one of these into layers. It's going to make layers, which are shapes, that could be printing that reflect the change in each level. And from a FDM printer, it's going to do the bottom layer first, and it goes all the way up. Alright, so that's what your print software to do no matter what form you give it from the 3D file. And then it's ready by these layers from the print software to be a code file. And the code file pretty much has 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, and it tells the printer where to go, and also the amount of filament and other information such as the speed of the printer, and so on and so forth. And in addition to this, there are some instructions at the top of the file and at the bottom that will tell the print file what to, or tell the printer what to do. And then of course your end product, having everything layer by layer, has gone through because it has been a correct and appropriate file from your 3D file, and it's been printed successfully into the code file, and then it's ready for your 3D printer to extrude layer by layer in your machine, whichever it is, and it will take your filament and all settings that it has. This is the 3D printing process.